I have a dream, oh, I have a dream. Red, white, and blue, fly free, fly free. I believe, oh, I believe. Will you dream with me?
Good morning, sir. Changing times. It is the decent way Christmas.
What?
It is, and show number 140. Thank you for tuning in today, watching us. We have a great show ahead. Ozarks Elder Law. We're going to introduce the two ladies in just a minute, but you need to get your paper and pencil out right now. There's going to be things that you could take notes on because there's a lot of valuable information that these two attorneys are going to share with our audience today. And you don't even have to be a senior to listen to this advice. You may be a son or daughter or grandchild and maybe be responsible kind of helping your parents or your grandparents. And you need to probably know what to do too. So that's why it's so important. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. And I'm Lynn Morris.
I'm Louis Michael, sitting in for
Don Blackard
again.
Don Blackard, and we really appreciate Louis. So he's one of our sub co-hosts, and he's able to come in.
I got up early and everything. I was breathing all night, and I was wore out when I got up this morning. But I'm here.
Well, I tell you what, you always add something to the show. And so our guests are Elyse Hartley. Welcome to the show today,
much for having me.
And Lori Rook.
Yeah,
so
thank you very
welcome.
much.
So you guys have a group called Ozarks Elder Law. And I think now you have 9 locations. Maybe the Republic is the newest location. Is that right or not?
Yes, that is our newest office, correct.
I said, if you keep adding more locations, back when I had pharmacies, I knew them all the way up to 10 or 12 when I was on the shows. But then when I got up to 20 or more, I was having a hard time trying to list them all. So I'm not going to even ask you, but it's all over Southwest Missouri.
That's right.
So what they're going to tell you today is mostly law about Missouri. And we know we have 49 other states in this country that are watching today. We also know there's people all over the world. We have 12 to 16 maybe countries that's listening in today. But sometimes some of the law pertains to pretty much all the states. And some of the cautions that you're going to give at this time of year actually pertains to a lot of people out there, a lot of scams going on and things during the holidays, and they're just trying to take advantage. And seniors is one of the groups they can take advantage of, okay? And so how long have you guys been together as a group? Ozarks Elder Law.
So the firm actually was originated in 2002, and when that attorney retired, we rebranded and became Ozarks Elder Law. So the firm's been around for over 20 years, and it's been 11 that we've been actually Ozarks Elder Law. So.
Great. And my good friend Jessica Cruz, Judge Cruz, she used to be one of your partners too.
That's correct.
I was telling Elyse, I had dinner with her the other night at the Sheriff's Christmas party.
Yeah.
And so she sat at our table, so I got to talk to her about cases that she does.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Well, I tell you what, and I really appreciate, Louis and I were talking about specialties, attorneys today. A long time ago, attorneys would, they'd just be a general attorney. I mean, they took care, it's kind of like a doctor back then. They took care
Dog bites, real estate.
Yeah, they took care of everything, And same way attorneys, back in the 70s and that I remember, they would just kind of cover all kinds of cases. Today, I'm really glad the attorneys are specialized because law has become very specialized, and you guys take care of a real niche that I think is important about elderly law. So let's just kind of jump in and tell our audience what are some of the main areas that you guys focus on. Do you guys do the same thing, or one of you specialize in something different?
We focus on estate planning and we focus on Medicaid planning. Lori and I both help people with Medicaid applications if they need to place someone in long-term care. Lori does quite a bit of elder abuse litigation. She has a big litigation background.
Yeah.
We also help with probate and trust administration.
Yeah, so veterans benefits as well. We both have kind of a passion for working with veterans, but we have 7 attorneys in the firm. And so everybody pretty much does everything with the exception of Medicaid. Elyse and I are the two that handle that. And then I manage the litigation piece of that when it comes to elder abuse, financial and physical. And we have another attorney in our office that helps with litigation. But we deal with special needs, benefits, Medicaid, pretty much anything that an elderly person would need. But as far as like estate planning goes, we'll help anybody, any age.
Well, my next question is, are you all women? Is there any men in your, as one of the attorneys?
None of the attorneys are men.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. So here's what I think. If you want something done right,
Right.
Yeah.
hire a woman. I mean, honestly, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good.
That's
So
probably not designed that way. It's just how it's
No, I
come
mean,
about, I'm
we
sure.
we do have a couple like male paralegals, but it's just almost like an area of law. I feel like that drawn to when you look at the caretaker statistics, 80% of caretakers are women.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. So we feel like this is kind of an area that some
It's a good fit.
just naturally drawn to. So I would say most of the time, if we have kids coming into the office to meet with us about their parents or loved one, it's the daughter or it's the
Yeah.
sister or it's the grandchild, or, it's not always that way. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, but it just kind of
Makes
seems
sense.
to be how it is. Yeah.
Well, one of my good friends, Dustin Sipes, you've got a young man that I think's probably doing a good job for you.
Yeah.
He loves what he's doing, and he wants to keep learning more and more. So
Yeah.
I think he's interested in being in litigation, trying to
Yeah.
learn more stuff like that. I think that's great for young people to be in a position like that. So no, I know, and so I want to make sure I tell the audience because. You guys did such a great job, in particular, Lori and your staff at Nixa. My wife and I decided to go to Europe, and we'd been there a few times, but we were going 2 weeks, and I don't know, all of a sudden, about 5 or 6 weeks before we left to go to Europe, Janet said, "We don't have a trust. We need to redo our wills. We need to do our directives. We need to do this. We need to do that." I said, "Whoa, you waited too long. We can't get it done." Well, I don't want to put pressure on you because you're not going to be able to do this all the time. I
24-hour
understand
service.
that. But she basically did. I mean, probably cut down 2 or 3 weeks of what it normally takes, but did such a excellent, thorough job doing all the things. So you also did our hospital directives and what's all those other things called? You did 4, 5, 6 things.
So there's healthcare durable powers of attorney,
Yeah.
financial durable powers of attorney, and those are pretty much anyone over the age of 18 needs those. So
Yeah, I waited until I was 74. Okay,
Well, I'm trying to catch up.
yeah.
So-
And we tell people those aren't really your cookie cutter documents. They need to be drafted by an attorney,
Right.
and they're very state specific as well. So,
Right. Well, you got all this stuff done in a, I think, short period of time. I'm sure you thought a short period of time too, and just a tremendous thing. So you really took pressure off of her more than me because she worries for both of us. So I appreciate that.
We hear people say that they feel relieved once they got everything signed.
Yeah, I
the
think
woman taking the lead.
I think that's great. So in Southwest Missouri, do you have a lot of I guess we have more than we want to of elderly abuse in nursing homes, things like that, unfortunately.
yeah, my theory is, and it's underreported. I think not to downplay what goes on with children, but I think it's akin to what goes on with children because a lot of the times we have that incapacity issue going on. And so as people age and like if there's an Alzheimer's or dementia diagnosis, we have childlike type behaviors and they're not able to care for themselves. So, but it's hard to differentiate because it's an adult, body. And so I think a lot of people just dismiss things that are going on and we see an uptick in it around the holidays, primarily because I think people are getting together, they're seeing their loved one, they've seen a decline, and then they might notice that, the bills aren't being paid or, Mom, what's going on here? Like you've got a final notice on something or there's spoiled food in the fridge, those types of things. And so, I could talk for hours on this topic, but I would caution people just to really pay attention to those things as they're getting together through the holidays, because sometimes it starts out as small, $25, the
Especially the financial exploitation piece. If you see a neighbor start coming around a lot or
yeah, the neighbors, I hate to say it, but like a lot of stuff goes on in churches. There's just that benevolence and people want to give during the holidays. They have that Christmas spirit and it gets taken advantage of. And so, and it always starts out small. It's typically somebody that they know or someone really works hard leading up to building a relationship with them. I had a lady one time, just guy that was doing just some lawn care work around her house, and over about a 4-month period of time just became really, really good friends with her. And one of the kids noticed mom's a statement laying on the table, and he had drove her to Walmart, and they had done a withdrawal of her bank account of several $1,000s.
Oh, wow.
And he called it a loan.
If somebody's a third party and they see this going on with a neighbor or a friend or a
Mm-hmm.
relative or something, how do they go about resolving that, or at least drawing attention to something's not right here?
Yeah. So in Missouri, there is a hotline. It's our Department of Health and Senior Services, and there's a hotline. It's 1-800. I can't think of. I have a holding a card. I should have brought them in. But anyway,
That's okay.
So that I would definitely start there. If you know that there's some family members that live close or something like that, trying to get a hold of them. But as a last resort, definitely call that number and let them know. And it can be an anonymous report, and they can come in and knock on the door and try to see what's going on. But I had a lady catch me a few weeks ago. I talked on this at a chamber event, and they own an electric company down in Forsyth area, and they are noticing this lady keeps calling them out to the house, and there's nothing wrong at the electric, and she doesn't remember calling them. And,
dementia or
and they're
something,
concerned that she's calling other people out and they're billing her for things that don't need to be done. And so she was like, what do I do? This lady has no family, so.
Which is common, unfortunately.
Very common.
People are lonely. And
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Social media scams are very big. Social media is complex, to say the least. And that is an easy way for scammers to get into people, Elyse.
Yeah, I had a case in the Joplin area where a lady, very intelligent woman, but she was very lonely, and she had made some relationships with people online. And next thing you know, she drained her retirement account and sent money orders to Africa and all over.
Yeah.
And she really genuinely thought she was sending money to her friends.
Wow. So during the holidays right now, Christmas coming up, I mean, a lot of shopping going on, a lot of gift giving. So there are a lot more scams are right now with time was for seniors, things that they need to watch out for, and their loved ones, if they've got family members or a neighbor next door needs to watch out for.
Yep.
So, one of the things I noticed, and I keep getting all these things from time to time that's some type of scam. I get, because I don't order anything online, nothing. I'm the guy that goes and buys it and sees the people.
Got to touch and feel it.
Yeah. But my wife, she's an expert shopper. She's the best. And so she orders everything online. Well, I mean, not everything, but a lot of stuff. But I get these things on notification that says you need to call UPS because we got a problem with your delivery and we want to deliver your package today.
Red flag.
And I'm going, wow. That's amazing. That's a miracle because I didn't order anything, but that's a scam, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of scams like that. So if that person if that senior or even a younger person, if they had answered that probably gets them connected to something.
Just by opening the email or the message a lot of times.
Is going to really do that. I wish the government would crack down on stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure there's millions and millions of dollars a year just being stolen from honest people, and that's a terrible thing. But I know my mom that towards she lived to be 94, so that's what I'm expecting to do too. So I've still got some time. But she would. This was tricky because she wanted to take care of her own finances, and she didn't really want me. And I was going there all the time to check on her, but she didn't really want me to check. But finally, I was able to start looking in her check stubs and book and try to see what she was writing. And I know she got notification one year that she hadn't paid her taxes. IRS had sent her a notification. She tried to hide that envelope, but I found it when I was at her house in Springfield. And so I asked her about it. And she said, well, I paid it. Lynn, I paid it. And so she said, I'll prove it. And so she gave me her check stub out and book out and showed me. And there was a line entry, IRS. He paid it on a certain date, way before the time. And so I said, well, Mom, we need to call then because they're saying you didn't pay. Yeah. And so, well, I did pay. And I said, well, I'm sure you did. You intended to because you wrote and the check number that check was missing. So it's somewhere. And so, but about 2 months later, we found the check and the envelope with a stamp on it. And she had placed it somewhere and something got put on top of it. And so it never got mailed. Yeah. And so that's why I think that kids that are, if you're close to your parents or grandparents and you're trying to help take care of them, you got to be alert because they're kind of tricky.
Yeah, and that's where
us seniors are kind of tricky.
Yeah, that's where the durable powers of attorney come into play that are really, really important because a lot of people in that demographic in their 90s and 80s, it's like they're losing control and they don't want to. They want to retain their autonomy. And it's a hard conversation to have as a child that, we kind of advise people, look, this is a way for them to choose and to actually control who can help them. Because if they wait too long, the state's going to decide, the judge is going to decide. Yeah. And so this is a way for you to pick the people you trust, to let them, it's not taking control away from you. It's not taking power away. The person can sit over here and help when you ask for help. But if you're calling the IRS to talk to them, they're not going to talk to you.
Right.
Mom's got to talk to them. And if mom's already kind of confused about what's going on, this is not going to be a fruitful conversation. No. So having a durable power of attorney allows you, send that in and they have to talk to you.
When they do make those calls, it's hard enough to navigate the phone tree.
That's what I was going to say.
Right. Yeah. So,
or older people are hard of hearing and being on the phone is hard to understand, or you've got someone that you can't
Communication
hear.
is tough.
Well, so durable power of attorney, that is very important. And so you got to do that while your parent or the senior you're taking care of is coherent and understands, right? Because they have to give permission.
Yeah, anyone over the age of 18 in Missouri, because you're an adult then. My son turned 18 last Friday, and before noon, he was in my office executing these documents because he's 18 now.
Okay, and that would be a good thing because if you're waiting to like we did to get all the documents done for us that you did, just think about it. I don't think I have any dementia yet, but just think if you wait too long, then you can't even get that.
Yeah. If you're in a car accident or you have an injury, none of us are immune from those types of things.
You don't know what the next day is. So
and so what happens if we don't do it is we have to go to court to get a guardianship, and we try to avoid that if we can, because then the court decides who makes decisions.
And that's more expense too, right?
Yeah, and they're in it for ever. Like the court's going to every year you have to report the court, you have to update them, and they look at where the money's going. And you're basically signing up for them to be in the back seat for the rest of the ride. And so it's make this decision now. You have control. Let's do this now.
And that helps if something happens to you and say me and my wife or whatever, your home, your equity, all that stuff's going to be tied up in a court, isn't it?
That's right. Yep. Yep. You have to ask permission to do anything. Whoever the court appoints has to ask permission. Whereas this document is it gives a lot of power. You want to make sure the person you're putting down you trust, but it makes everything easier for them. And, in a fraud or financial abuse situation, we typically there's an urgency there. We can't wait months to get into a court to try to get something stopped. So having that document allows you to go to the bank and say, look, I need you to, close this account. We need to withdraw all the money. We've got somebody that's gotten into mom's account. We need bank statements. We need to see what's going on here. And you can just step right in.
And I guess the best advice is to do this earlier than later, because like you said, we never know what our life circumstance is going to be, And so, and I guess the great news is you can change it. If you have a great plan that you guys organize and produce for someone, then later on circumstances change and you've already got the foundation and now you can make a change or two and they're still protected. But I think if you wait too long, then I just think that's not a good scenario.
I had a 40-year-old client going into a nursing home and aneurysm during childbirth. So unfortunately, we sit in seats where we think in worst case scenario terms because we can pretty much tell you worst case scenario.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Well, so we got trust, we got durable power of attorney. What else are you guys doing?
So there are different types of trusts.
Mhm.
There are Medicaid asset protection trusts. There are other irrevocable type trusts. So sometimes if that's a good fit for a client, and that's kind of getting into some of the long-term care issues that we deal with, Medicaid, we'll help people with long-term care insurance claims because those are a nightmare for people. And so
Right.
And one of our passions is helping families that are farmers,
Mhm.
maybe setting it up in an asset protection trust so they can guarantee that the farm is passed to the next generation.
Well,
or maybe
that's
setting
important.
up
That's
an-
important.
Yeah, maybe setting up an
Yeah.
LLC for them.
a lot
Yeah.
of the times that's their main asset or their only asset. And if it's a large farm, that can be a problem for them later if they do need Medicaid or something for nursing home care. But business succession planning kind of ties into that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, the farm is the business. And then we have other, people don't think of their business as their asset. They think of it as their income, and really it has a value and it needs to be protected. And so
Great
making
point.
sure it's set up properly and it will stay out of probate. I have probated a lot of businesses. People went to a great extent to do all this stuff, but they didn't talk about their business. And so now we're in probate figuring out what's going to happen to the business.
Right. Well, and we're going to be taking a break here in a minute, but so let's talk one subject more, and then we'll get into it after the break. So more information, but you talked about Medicaid. So a lot of the seniors, of course, a lot of people are on Medicaid for a long time, unfortunately, but for the seniors that end up filing for Medicaid, and maybe they're going to end up in a nursing home, or maybe one of them is going to end up in a nursing home. It's really important to be able to know how to file and protect the assets they have, like their house. Are they forced to sell their house in Missouri?
No, they're not forced to sell. And there's a lot of misinformation out there, and this is a very state specific issue. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Medicaid works very differently, but Missouri does a pretty good job of taking care of a spouse at home too. And so what we really try to hone in on and create awareness for is there's a right way to get on Medicaid and there's a wrong way. And so, we're trying to make sure they follow all the rules. They don't
Not
make
just
mistakes.
one way.
Yeah, they don't make mistakes. They're doing it, there's no Medicaid fraud involved. We're reporting what we should report. And everybody's family situation is different. So, but that's one of the misconceptions out there is they have to sell their house or the nursing home's going to take my house. That is not true.
And we don't want older people to have to get divorced because you have to put your
Well, I've
spouse
heard
in the
that
nursing
too.
home.
I mean, even as a state rep, I heard people
Really?
telling me that they were told to get a divorce if they were going to get
Yeah, that's
on Medicaid. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
the government is telling a
No.
family to
No.
separate.
No, and judge, that's a fraud on the court. Unless the marriage is irretrievably broken, that's a fraud on the court. And
Yeah,
I've had clients come in and say, I'm like, well, I'm not doing that for you because you seem to be perfectly happily married.
Right.
Do you think that some social workers might have said that?
No, I think it's attorneys that don't practice in this area.
Oh.
I think
Just a misconception.
I think it's Googling things
Okay.
or, 30 years ago, I heard that my aunt did this kind of stuff, but that's,
So getting your legal advice off Google is about like getting your medical advice off
yes,
Google.
that's the equivalent. Yes.
Some good, some bad.
Okay. Well, hey, so Lori and Elyse, how do people get a hold of you? We're going to do this again, but how's the best way for people in Missouri? And then guess what? All the people in all the other states, you see these attorneys that are specialized in elder law. So you need to find an attorney like them in your state. Don't wait too long. Okay. So how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so our website is ozarkselderlaw.com and our phone number is 417-868-8200.
Say that phone number one more time.
417-868-8200.
Okay, if you don't have a pencil and paper, get it now because we're going to come back and do the same thing the second half. But I'm going to talk about the sponsors real quick. We have two great sponsors. Brad Pistow is a certified fiduciary financial planner located right in Ozark, Missouri. He's the president of Trinity Insurance Financial Services.
He writes
And
books too.
He does. He has written two books, Safe Money Matters and Bulletproof. I have both of those, and he will send you, if you will call right now at 417-582-9222. So 417-582-9222.
Right on the bottom of your screen.
Yep, right there. I tell you what, if you will call that, either Lisa or Hunter will answer the phone, and they will send you a book. They're all best-selling. Both those books are best-selling books on Amazon on financial planning, retirement planning. He's one of the best in the world. He happens to be in Ozark, Missouri. I use him Don Blackard, our other host, uses him. A lot of family members use him. It's just an amazing guy. He goes all over the United States and speaks on retirement planning. And he also is a contributor to USA Today, financial section on retirement planning. That's how I first met him. I was in Florida on a vacation, and I picked up the paper for that day.
Had to go all the way to Florida.
Yeah. We were at our condo there, and I read this, and I said, we were thinking about a financial planner, and this is how God works. This Brad, I called him Pistol. I didn't know how to pronounce his name. I said, well, this Brad Pistol. I said, this guy's really smart. We need to find a guy like him in our area. And so when I got back, we went to Sands, a little restaurant, Sands, a little mom and pop restaurant in Ozark. And I was listening to I wasn't listening. There was 3 men talking. I had a person that I was talking to, but I heard him saying Brad Pistol. And I'm thinking, Brad,
I just read that name.
Is that Brad Pistol? And so I said, excuse me, guys, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but I said, you're talking about financial planning? I said, is that guy here in Ozark? And they said, yeah, he's the best there is. And we all 3 use him. And I said, okay. So I found him. And so I highly recommend
So
him.
right after you call these girls, you need to call Brad Pistol.
Yeah. I tell you what.
Get all arranged.
Got it all, everything done. But no, Brad Pistol is a great guy, and I highly recommend him. So 417-582-9222. Our second sponsor we also have had for quite some time, and that's John Whittaker. Used to be John Youngblood and John Whittaker, Youngblood Motor Group. My last 2 Grand Cherokee Chiefs, Jeeps have been bought from this group, and they have actually now John Whittaker is the sole owner. He has Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia,
and he has stocked those parking lots.
They've got tremendous inventory, great cars, and on the other side of South Campbell, they actually have a bunch of used cars, and most of their cars are certified used cars. So if you can afford it, you want to buy a certified used car, because it goes through over 110 inspection points. And when you drive down the highway, there's going to be lots of miles without having something go wrong. So we highly recommend John Whittaker. He comes in and talks to us twice a year and tells us what's going on in the auto industry. And so does Brad Pistol come in and talk to us about retirement planning. Retirement planning is just as important as the things that you guys do. It really does
work. Goes hand in hand.
It works together. So, I mean, you don't want to, he always says, Brad, the plans that he has, I don't have to worry about the stock market, although it's doing pretty well right now.
How much have you lost this year?
I've not lost anything with the plans at Brad Pistol. I've never
awesome.
Lost anything. I've averaged up to 8% income, and my money will not run out. My money will not run out before I die. So with the plans that he has, so I highly recommend those 2 guys. But we're going to jump right back in, and we're going to take a break and real quick with your song. Let's do it.
You want me to sing now?
Yeah, you used to, folks. This guy used to be the #1 Elvis impersonator around the country. So
are we related?
Yeah.
Did my mother call you this morning?
I'm trying to be nice to you, but you're a pretty nice guy. You are the CEO of Choose to Live, which is a group of people that tells people their life has a purpose and is very important, and we're trying to prevent suicide. So,
yes, neversuicide.org.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that.
This is a little tribute to Elvis, one of my favorites, of course. And
it's Christmas time.
It is Christmas time, so we're going to pay a little tribute to Elvis. And everybody knows Blue Christmas, I'd say.
You want me to sing along?
Would you? You ready?
Okay.
Go. I'm just kidding. Hang on. I'll have a blue Christmas without y'all. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. That'll be due when all right with his Christmas of white. It won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me. And when those blue snowflakes start falling, sing it, girls. That's when those blue memories start calling. You'll be doing all right with your Christmas of white, but I'll have a blue Christmas. All right, everybody dance. How you like it so far?
Love it. Wonderful.
Okay, you didn't know you were in for this morning, did you?
It's why I got up. I knew. I was so excited.
Sure. Right. I bet my mother's watching. Hi, Mom. Uh-oh. You'll be doing all right. Where's our producer? With your Christmas of white, but I'll have a blue Christmas. I don't know if they heard that last part, but somehow we lost our sound.
It was awesome, but that was a technical
Thank you very
difficulty.
much.
But
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's a great thing. Great way to celebrate Christmas, and
We're good now.
so we are good to go. So we appreciate that. So
I'll have a blue Christmas without you, Lynn.
yeah, I will have a blue Christmas without you too. But we're close by. That's the good news. So we'll just jump right back in. So one of the things that we talked about just when we met a while ago before our show started, we were talking about, I was looking up elder law last night, and I thought this was interesting. A lot of people, so there's a lot of myths out there and false assumptions and statements by different people. They're not highly specialized like you two are. And so one of the things I read about, it said Missouri and Arkansas. We have Arkansas people, so welcome to the Arkansas people watching today. And it said that some people thought that in those two states or other states, we don't know what the law is, that what the kids might be responsible for their finances, bills of their parents or grandparents. But that's not exactly true, is it, in Missouri?
No, it all depends on how you sign documents. So this is going back to, not to beat a dead horse, but durable powers of attorney. So if you are handling the financial matters for your mom, if you're at the hospital and you're having to sign paperwork for them, you're always signing as their agent. And so like our durable powers of attorney explain how to sign. But if you're just writing your name on the line, you are financially responsible for those. It's a contract. You signed up to be responsible for whatever services are being provided.
Be careful what you sign.
Yeah, and if you're
And
going
how
to,
you sign.
yeah, and we're not saying you don't sign it, but you're signing it as their agent. So John
So-
Hancock, DPOA for mom,
Okay.
for example.
So if you were going into putting your mom into a nursing home or maybe into the hospital or whatever, and they have a section that says responsible party, instead of just sign your name Lynn Morris, you would want to sign Lynn Morris DPOA, right?
Correct.
And that protects you,
Mhm.
still takes care of your mother,
Mhm.
but protects you from any liability.
Yeah.
And see, and that's why, honestly, folks, I'm just telling you, when I listen to these ladies and they're specialists in elder law, these are things that you need to know, and actually you need to know it sooner than later. Okay,
Yeah.
because once you sign and you don't have that document on there, then that's too late, right? You're not smart enough to be able to fix it, are you?
No, it's going to be kind of hard to get out of that one.
Yeah. And we're not trying to cheat someone. No. I mean, no, we're not trying to cheat someone, but honestly, you just have to, you're protecting your clients.
Yeah.
And that's why you need an elder law attorney. Okay. What else do we need to talk about? I want to talk to Lori about, did you know your partner's running for,
I know.
did you try
It's
to talk her out of it or?
No, I didn't. I'm excited for her.
So-
She's running where?
Well, I think she's a runner. I can tell that she's not overweight like me, but I think that she's running for treasurer of the state of Missouri. That's a
Wow.
tremendous feat, and just mentally making that decision to do that. So what made you decide to run for a statewide office?
Well, I sought the appointment last year, and with my skill set, I spoke with some folks about it and thought I would be a good candidate. And to be just really transparent, I was not really seriously considered, and was told I was a political outsider, essentially, like what, doesn't matter, the qualifications. And that was
That's a
when,
good thing.
yeah. And I highlighted that I was not, it was brushed off. So, and that honestly, that conversation was, we hear about, the things that are wrong with, in politics and things. And it just, for me, it was like, I have the skill set. Some of the things that go on in that office, I deal with on a daily basis. I'm a business owner, and the fact that I am not a politician, I don't owe anybody. And that was really just my motivation, to run. And we, I'm an advocate. That's what I do. I protect people. I protect their assets. I protect their money. And this is taking it to the state level. And so I want to be a larger voice. I want to be a bigger advocate. And there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up, and I don't owe anybody anything. And so I'm just going to
That's amazing.
push forward. And yeah, so.
Well, I tell you what, I'm proud of you for just making that choice. That's the first hard part. And then now the hard part is trying to raise money and trying to campaign. Missouri has 114 counties. Missouri is a pretty large state. When you start to travel in it, a lot of the candidates, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to do it but I hope you can get to as many as you can. I mean, a lot of the candidates actually travel all 114 counties at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and stuff like that. So
The logistics of that is amazing.
It's just really hard. I had lunch with Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft yesterday, and just a few gentlemen at Village Inn in Springfield, Missouri, and Jay's already traveled 114 counties this year, and he's done it last year. And I mean, one of the things that he always wanted to do is make sure that he was out there. And so that's important. But you know what? There's no other women in the highest positions in the state. You'd be the only lady, if you win, that's basically running. So I don't think there's any other.
Holly Rader.
Holly Rader. She's my good friend. We served with her in the House, and she and I sat on the front row. Yeah. Just 2 seats apart. So I kind of worked with her quite a bit, and she is running for governor. And so got
So do you have a campaign headquarters yet, or a place people can make donations?
Yeah. So if you go to LoriRook.com, you can find out more about my why I'm running, my plans, the things I'd like to tackle, and you can donate there. So I also have a Facebook page as well, but my webpage is LoriRook.com.
And how do you spell that? Rook.
ROOK.
Just like it sounds.
Like the chess piece. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Elyse, you're going to have to work more. All the other attorneys are going to have to work more because she's going to be gone. She's going to have to get out there and campaign. Yeah. Sometimes during the daytime, sometimes at night, and stuff like that. So you got a great husband and support team at home because they're going to be without you some.
Yeah, we've already been out there. We've done 3 parades this month, and so we've been out there and just trying to talk to all the voters and get engagement and understand that Missourians deserve better.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you would be good. And I would just tell you this, I'll tell everybody, I mean, if you lose, don't let that be the last time that you do this. Several years ago, after I'd done 2 stints on the school board, I decided to run for state rep. We only had 1 state rep in Christian County at that time. Population was less. And I lost by 108 votes to the Speaker Pro Tem who became the Speaker of the House. Mm-hmm. And very hard to beat the guy that's number 2 in the state in the House that became number 1 in the House. He had lots of friends. Mm-hmm. He had lots of supporters. And we spent a lot of money. Mm-hmm. We spent several $100,000 on a state rep race that paid $35,000. Yeah. So figure that. But you know what? After I lost, I thought I might not ever do this again, but then I got irritated with the federal government and how they control everything in healthcare. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to run. So I did. And I won that race. I won 15 races after I lost my first race.
Yeah.
And so I'm 15-1, getting ready to retire after 3 more years as presiding commissioner in Christian County. But I would just tell you, because you're young and you're smart and you're talented and you have the desire, you have the experience to be a good treasurer, but you may decide you want to be Secretary of State or whatever you want to be. But you could be whatever you want to be. Don't give up if you lose this first time, because a lot of people lose before they win. Mm-hmm. And you'll never know if you don't try again.
Yeah.
So just have faith and just keep working hard. That's all you can do. Yeah. And I think that's great. Well, so what else do we want to talk about? Let me see if I made some more notes. We got estate planning. We've got disability. You talked about long-term care planning, Medicaid planning, guardianship. Let's see. I wrote something about.
How did you two meet? How did you form the partnership?
Well, Ozarks Elder Law was actually my first job after law school.
Really?
So I went to law school at the University of Missouri in Columbia, and I went to law school because I was really interested in estate planning. I grew up on a farm, and I wanted.
Where at?
California, Missouri.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Spent a week there one day.
Yeah.
No, but that's how you got involved. And did you guys meet after law school, or I guess were you already?
So Lori was already practicing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We hired her right out of law school,
Yeah.
and I had a family friend that somehow
Knew my grandfather.
knew her grandfather
Yeah.
here in Springfield.
I think I just sent you an email.
Yeah, and
Nice.
it's it is unusual to have somebody come out of law school with that interest, and she specifically kind of had an elder law interest.
My professor was very into elder law, and I thought, oh, this is a great area of the law to get into. It's going to be very rewarding, and it truly is.
Was there a personal reason why you liked that?
Well, I
Like
mean,
a family experience or something? Or
well, of course,
Besides the
I
farm.
had a grandfather that had Alzheimer's, and so my family was his caregiver. And then
Excellent.
he owned a farm and, passed away. And of course, there was a family fight afterwards. And I just thought, someone needs to help these
Well,
people.
you've been through all that, so when people
Yeah.
come to talk to you, you've experienced a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
The family dynamics and
Yeah.
who's getting what. And
Yeah.
that helps.
I had a litigation background before transitioning into elder law, and so I actually worked for, did trial work, tried cases, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but there was just kind of, I was at a point with my family too that it just wasn't like fulfilling me, and so
Yeah.
this was an opportunity when this attorney was retiring to help take over this firm. And so, but my mom at the time was caregiving for her mother and calling me all the time with these questions. I'm like, well, how is this a thing? Like, how is this an issue? Like, Social Security questions and things. And so it just kind of was like, whoa. And as I always tell the story, like I got one of my first meetings, I got a hug, and I was like, I've never
Where'd that
gotten
come
a hug.
from?
I'm a lawyer. I don't get hugs, I've been practicing for, 8 years working for large companies, which was fine, and fun. But,
Well, it's evident with 9 offices opened up now, and I'm sure more in the planning stages. I would think that's some kind of success, and people trust you, and they go where they can trust.
The reason for the offices is so many. Some people are like, that doesn't make sense. And from a business
Some people
standpoint,
can't travel.
Some people can't travel, and it is. Would we probably have some thicker margins if we were, just operating under one big roof in Springfield? Maybe, but people can't get to us. And so, the first time we opened an outside office, it was, wow, we're so glad you're here. You're in our backyard. We can't travel. We can't, Southwest Missouri is very rural.
You're finding a need and you're fulfilling it. It's
Yeah.
if there's no one there to help, then you're there to help.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to run out of time, but Elyse, how do we get a hold of you? How do people get a hold of you?
Our phone number is 417-868-8200, and our website is ozarkselderlaw.com.
Oh, very good. Well, I tell you what, we'll get you back on, and Lori, we'll get you back on as the campaign heats up after the first of the year, and just kind of find out what you're doing and stuff like that. Wish you both a good luck and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And you know what? All the people that's watching from Acts Ministry, from our group, our producers, Don Blackard and Louis Michael, Sonova Cantrell, Jim Whining and Pam, all the people that's involved in Acts Ministry. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll be back next Wednesday. We got another exciting show. So we'll be back, and I hope Santa is good to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
1, 2, 3. Can I get a hoorah from a patriot like me?